Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, the home of heart-pounding Liverpool drama where every pass, every goal, and every headline hits like a last-minute winner. Today, the spotlight is blazing hot on Arne Slot, and the sack race whispers are getting louder than the cop on a derby day. Liverpool's stumble at Brentford has fans scratching their heads, injuries are piling up like defensive mistakes, and even Jurgen Klopp's lingering words seem to echo a warning from the past. Plus, transfer temptations are calling with January just around the corner. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Premier League sack races pressure rises on Arne Slot, and Ruben Amorim eases doubts. The Premier League is only 9 match days old, but a number of managers are already under huge pressure following disappointing starts to the season, but others are starting to breathe a little easier. The Premier League managerial merry-go-round is one that is constantly spinning, and that has been no different this season. 3 managers have already left their roles this season, despite the season only being in its opening stages. Graham Potter, Nuno Espirito Santo, and Ange Postecoglou have all been moved on so far this season. And while those 3 have been removed from their positions, pressure remains on some of their opposite numbers. Only 9 games have been played thus far, which means there could be even more changes on the horizon. But who is under pressure and could be facing the sack soon? Alternatively, who looks unlikely to be going anywhere anytime soon? Safe as houses. Let's start with those who are safe in the knowledge that they won't be losing their jobs anytime soon. Table-topping Mikel Arteta is sure to remain at Arsenal following his excellent work in North London. Bournemouth's Andoni Iraola and Sunderland boss Regis Lebris are also set to stay where they are after leading their respective sides to excellent starts to the season. Thomas Frank has also had an impressive start to life with Tottenham Hotspur, so will remain where he is. Pep Guardiola is likely set to be the one to decide where his future lies, so will not be moved on by Manchester City. Oliver Glasner's future has looked doubtful at times, but after leading Crystal Palace to the FA Cup last term, it would be a huge shock to see him moved on. Sean Dyche has only just been appointed by Nottingham Forest and won his opening game against Porto, so is safe for now. Not in danger, it would have been preposterous to suggest that Arne Slot's position at Liverpool was in any danger at the start of the season, and it still is. But his place at the club doesn't look as secure as it once was. The Reds have lost 5 out of their last 6 games, and a title push looks unlikely at this stage. There's no suggesting that he is under any pressure, but Slot needs to turn Liverpool's form around sooner rather than later. The same could certainly be said of the likes of Unai Emery, Enzo Maresca, and Eddie Howe, who are all safe right now, but the way the season pans out could potentially impact their futures. Scott Parker, David Moyes, Daniel Farke, Keith Andrews, and Fabian Hürzeler are all relatively safe as it stands. Not out of the woods, moving on to the managers who could well be out of work sometime soon, Ruben Amorim is right at the top of that list. The Portuguese coach was under severe pressure only a few weeks ago, and it appeared that one adverse result would have seen him moved on. Fortunately for him, the Red Devils appear to have turned things around over recent weeks. That has seen the pressure ease, but another poor run could see him back in the firing line. Amorim's compatriot, Marco Silva, is also under a little bit of pressure with Fulham, having endured a frustrating start to the season with just 2 wins. There's been no reports that Silva is under threat, but some better results are certainly needed. Across London, Nuno Espirito Santo has had a rotten season, having already been sacked by Nottingham Forest. He's now at West Ham and has yet to win a game. And should that run of results continue, it could force the club's ownership to explore another change. I couldn't believe my eyes seeing what Liverpool did at Brentford. Arne Slot change is needed. The first part of John Aldridge's hard-hitting echo column assesses the wreckage from a 4th straight Premier League defeat, this time at Brentford. On Saturday night, last week's defeat to Manchester United was enough for me to believe Liverpool won't be retaining their Premier League title. But Saturday's latest setback, the 3-2 loss at Brentford, is just seeing things go from bad to worse. Liverpool seemingly need 3 goals a game now to get a result, and the whole thing, frankly, has become a shambles. The champions have no chance of retaining their crown with this sort of football, and 4 defeats in a row is now cause for major concern for Arne Slot. It doesn't look good for the manager right now, but what you have to say is there is no lack of effort from the players, who are all clearly still playing for him at the moment. There were one or two 50-50 challenges that were shirked, which you simply cannot do as a Liverpool player, by the way. But on the whole, the work rate and the desire is there. But what is undermining everything right now is they don't know how to defend. And Brentford's approach was very predictable on Saturday. Other teams have shown them the path to victory against in recent weeks. It's all just been so poor. The long throw of Michael Caoth is a real missile for Brentford, and I had Dave Challinor during my time as Tranmere Rovers manager, who was famous for his long throws. We used it to our advantage so often, and after a while, the opposition would rather concede a corner than a throw-in. So I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw Georgi Mamardashvili play a couple of poor passes out wide to Connor Bradley to concede. Throw-ins in dangerous areas for Brentford inside the first few minutes. Dango Awatara gets the early goal, and then once more, Liverpool are left with it all to do. Mamardashvili should have known about the throw-in problems that Brentford could cause, and there will have been no shame in him pumping the ball long instead of difficult passes out wide to keep possession. It was so naive and it baffled me. It boiled my blood seeing it unfold, and Virgil van Dijk and Slot both said after the game that defending long throws was something they worked on all week in training. Clearly, not enough work went into that. Opposition teams now have a portfolio to look through when it comes to strategy against the Reds, and there is simply no cohesion in the play. The attacking players Slot has, it is the envy of the Premier League, but the midfield and the defense are not joined up, and a winning run of 10 games or more is the only thing that might see Liverpool return to the title conversation. A victory against Arsenal is a must, and they are looking so strong and confident now themselves. Liverpool already find themselves playing catch-up in October, and the end of title challenges this early in the season is something we haven't experienced for a number of years now at Anfield. Before all of that talk, though, it's Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup, and Liverpool absolutely need a result. A cup exit on the back of this run will be tough to stomach. Slot needs to figure out a plan quickly to get his team back on the right path. It looked like a big step forward had been taken in Frankfurt last week, but Saturday was as bad as it has been all season. Managers sometimes say there is no plan B, but that is nonsense. They have to have one, and the Reds boss needs to get his thinking cap on to devise a way out of the woods. It's a concern that he admitted he is yet to figure out how to counteract the fact that teams now know how to beat us. Is it time for a different system? Two holding midfielders who can sit in and help the defense would be a big help for now, and then, in time, you can look to give proper service to the type of forwards who will always score goals. Something needs to change because right now, Liverpool, the Premier League champions, are miles off it. Liverpool could be without 6 players for Crystal Palace as Arne Slot problems pile up. A look at the early team news for Liverpool's Carabao Cup 4th-round clash at home to Crystal Palace on Wednesday. If Liverpool head coach Arne Slot could pick an opponent to play next, after seeing his side slip to a 4th straight Premier League loss, perhaps it would not be Crystal Palace. But that's exactly who the Reds will face at Anfield on Wednesday. Night Slot's bruised side will go into the Carabao Cup 4th-round clash on the back of a dispiriting 3-2 defeat at Brentford. On Saturday night, that raised further questions over whether they stand any chance of retaining the league crown they won so emphatically last season. It is fair to suggest that the League Cup is not top of the Liverpool head coach's priorities for a 2025-26 campaign that is in danger of going awry. But back in home comforts, after playing 5 of the last 6 games in all competitions away from Merseyside, Slot will be determined to get a win to lift his squad's shaky morale. But there are problems. Firstly, Palace have already got the better of the Reds twice this season, in the Community Shield on penalties. At Wembley in August, and then in the Premier League at Selhurst Park last month. That last-gasp 2-1 win has sent Liverpool spiraling, with defeats to Chelsea, Manchester United, and Brentford, then following. Another issue facing Slot is the fact that he could be without 6 players for the visit of Palace, limiting his ability to rotate his squad ahead of what is shaping up to be a must-win league match at home to ever-improving Aston Villa on Saturday. Injury was added to insult at the weekend when it was confirmed that the withdrawal of the impressive Curtis Jones was because of a knock. Slot said, "Curtis, we have to wait and see. He asked to be taken off, but he walked off instead of needing treatment. It's a lot of games, and there's another one in 4 days." Slot was without another midfielder, Ryan Gravenberch, as well as striker Alexander Isak, at the G-Tech Community Stadium due to ankle and groin problems, respectively. The pair joined hamstrung duo Alisson Becker and Jeremy Frimpong on the sidelines, while teenage center-back Giovanni Leone is out for the season after ACL surgery. None of that trio will be fit to face. Palace and Reds supporters await updates on Isak, Gravenberch, and Jones. Speaking at his press conference on Friday to preview the trip to Brentford, Slot said, "Jeremy's not in a good place. What I mean by that, he is definitely not going to play today, tomorrow, or next week. Hamstring injury, so that's going to take a while. Alex, not too bad, but a question mark for the weekend, so let's see where he is. He didn't travel with us to Frankfurt, so today we are in again. Yesterday we were in as well, but we had a day to travel. Let's see where he is today." Jurgen Klopp's 3-word Liverpool remark may have Arne Slot concerned. Liverpool's 3-2 defeat by Brentford on Saturday was the team's 5th in 6 games, and Arne Slot is under increasing pressure at Anfield, with Jurgen Klopp's comments on a return to the club still fresh in the memory. The heat is intensifying on Arne Slot following Liverpool's 5th loss in 6 matches on Saturday. Former boss Jurgen Klopp's recent comments will now be ringing in the ears of supporters and Slot himself, as the German confessed when discussing a potential Anfield comeback. It is possible. Liverpool's emphatic 5-1 victory over Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League last week turned out to be a misleading glimpse of form, as the Reds were comfortably dismantled by Brentford in a 3-2 reverse on Saturday. The loss to the Bees follows setbacks against Crystal Palace, Chelsea, and Manchester United domestically, plus an away defeat to Galatasaray in Europe. Slot and his squad must now confront the harsh reality that the reigning Premier League champions find themselves significantly adrift of the title challenge, just 9 fixtures into the fresh campaign. While the season moves ahead, and Liverpool undoubtedly has sufficient time to bridge the 7-point deficit separating them from Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, even the most devoted fan would acknowledge that the Reds' issues appear as intricate as the Gunners currently seem formidable. The Dutch tactician retains considerable goodwill following his remarkable championship triumph in his debut campaign, and there's no suggestion Slot's role faces jeopardy. Nevertheless, football moves rapidly and loyalties shift quickly, and Klopp's observations about potentially returning to Anfield have undeniably stirred controversy as the pressure continues to build. Klopp left Anfield following 9 years in charge at the conclusion of the 2023-24 campaign, having revealed his intention to depart in January 2024. The Premier League and Champions League winning manager had explained that he was running out of energy. When questioned about whether he might one day return to Liverpool on the Diary of a CEO podcast, Klopp responded, "I said I will never coach a different team in England. So that means if I did return, then it's Liverpool. So, yeah, theoretically it is possible." Discussing what circumstances might tempt him back to the Anfield dugout, he added, "I don't even know exactly. I love what I do now. I don't miss coaching. I do coach, but it's just different. It's not players," he continued. "I don't miss it. I don't miss standing in the rain for 2.5 or 3 hours. I also don't miss going to press conferences 3 times a week. Having 10 or 12 interviews a week, I don't miss that. I don't miss being in the dressing room. I coached around 1,080 games, so I was in the dressing room very, very often. I don't want to die in the dressing room. It's these kind of things. I'm 58. From your perspective, that might be old, but from other perspectives, it's not that old. That means I could make a decision in a few years. I don't know. Do I have to make a decision today? I will not coach again, but thank God I do not have to do that. I can just see what the future brings." Klopp's break from soccer proved brief, as he accepted the role of Red Bull's global head of soccer at the start of 2025. He has also taken on a position with the German Football League, indicating he has no immediate plans to return to management. "The sooner you sign him, the better." Liverpool told to make ambitious move in January after 4 consecutive defeats in the Premier League. Liverpool have dropped from first place to seventh. Arne Slot's side are now 7 points behind Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, who have now become the favorites to win the Premier League title this season. It has all turned into a disaster. For the Reds, after a promising start this season, their latest defeat came against Brentford when once again, their defense looked shaky and conceded 3 goals after their failure to deal with the aerial threat of Keith Andrews' side. Liverpool have struggled defensively this season. Their defense has come under scrutiny this season, and the performances of Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate have been criticized. Former Reds defender Glenn Johnson has become the latest person to voice his concerns about the Liverpool defense, and he wants Slot to take action soon. As early as the January transfer window, Johnson has suggested that the Merseyside club should make a move in the January transfer window to sign Crystal Palace center-back Mark Guehi, as he could be the ideal player to sort out the defensive issues at Anfield and support Van Dijk. Guehi was heavily linked with a move to Anfield in the summer transfer window. The England international even competed his medical ahead of a potential move to Liverpool, but Palace decided to pull the plug in the last minute. The defender is now set to become a free agent next summer, and his availability as a free agent has alerted all the top Premier League clubs, along with European giants like Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. Johnson wants his former club to forget about signing him for free next summer and pay a transfer fee in January to sign him and sort out their defensive troubles.